Hi everyone, very good afternoon. Welcome to this session. Hope I'm audible and visible. If please let me know in the comment section in the chat. Those who are watching me for the first time, I'm your faculty of English and मेरी classes यहाँ regularly होती on this channel and also on our other channel. So we have CSAT classes on Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays, these 3 days over here, 1:30 p.m. And on other 3 days, the classes are for SBI mains exam and वो होते हैं Tuesdays को, Thursdays को, Saturdays को on our main other channel that is CGB IBPS Hub. Okay, तो आप उसे भी सब्सक्राइब कर लो ताकि वहाँ की भी क्लासेस से आपको बेनिफिट मिले एंड प्लीज गाइज मेक श्योर दैट यू आर रेगुलर. कुछ PYQs हैं and I understand some of you might have been preparing for the exam for a long time तो आपको पता होंगे आंसर, but it's never bad to revise, okay, to understand a question from a different angle. That's totally okay. आपके ब्रेन को कैसे स्ट्रैटेजी को फॉलो करते हुए समझते हुए आंसर करना है, दिस इज what we are practicing. It is not just about getting the answer correct but getting it correct for the right reason. क्योंकि सिमिलर क्वेश्चन जब एग्जाम में आएगा तो आप उसको उस वे में कॉम्प्रीहेंड कर सको. Okay, of course there are mixed questions, PYQ, new questions, some from the mock test and all. So please guys, आप लोग यहाँ पे continue practice करो and if you have any doubt, any point where you face any problem, challenge, you please talk about it here. आप मुझे बता सकते हो, I can explain you. Okay, तो जल्दी से like और share कर दो. I'm also gonna share the class and then we will begin. That's your first question. I hope I'm not hiding any portion of it. Yeah, please get going. आपको आंसर यहाँ चैट में देना है. In timer in front of you. What's the second one? Which of the following statements are not implied by the best? In another words, कौन सी बात है out of 1, 2, 3, 4 that is not as per the passage, that is not making sense with the meaning of the passage. Okay, so that's the first and the second. The doctrinal teachings of Protestant and Catholic reformers were inimical and anathema to one another. That simply means they were in contrast, they were opposed to each other. But their broader aims and aspirations could at times look remarkably similar. But जो broader aims and all हैं, वो हमें दूर से ऐसा लग सकता है कि they are same. Both hope to create a more spiritual church, a godlier, disciplined and ordered society. उनका दोनों का एम एक ही है, बट तरीके रिफॉर्मर्स का सोचना अलग है, टीचिंग्स अलग है. And both confronted similar obstacles in the ignorance, apathy, or sheer bloody mindedness of local communities who might see little reason to change their ways at the behest of high minded idealists. एंड दोनों के ही सामने हर्डल्स भी सॉर्ट ऑफ सिमिलर हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दी लोकल कम्युनिटी. इट मेक्स लिटिल सेंस, लाइक नो सेंस. लिटिल सेंस जब भी लिटिल विदाउट अ या द के यूज होता है, इट मीन्स नो सेंस. नो नो एन ओ नो का मीनिंग होता है. So it makes no sense, little sense to consider the Catholic and Protestant Reformation separately from each other. Author बोलता है दो उनकी टीचिंग्स डिफरेंट है, एक दूसरे के अपोजिट में हैं. ही थिंक्स कि कोई सेंस नहीं है कि दोनों रिफॉर्मेशंस को अलग करा जाए. एंड देयर कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग एंड समटाइम्स कन्वर्जिंग ट्रैजेक्टरीज नीड टू बी ट्रीटेड साइड बाय साइड. तो वो साइड बाय साइड जो है उनके डिफरेंस को लेके चलो, बट उनको अलग अलग ट्रीट मत करो. So this is what the author is saying. Now, the Protestant and Catholic reformers both agreed upon common goals, which is very clear. The broader aims, aspirations एक ही थे उनके. Second says communities responded with reason and tolerance to the idealism of the reformers, which is mentioned here, that they both confronted similar obstacles in the ignorance, apathy, or sheer bloody-mindedness of local communities. And these communities, they see no reason to change their way at the behest of high-minded idealists. So communities responded with reason and tolerance. Tolerate करना पड़ेगा ना when they are not seeing any reason to change. So to the idealism of the reformers, okay, they would reason, they would show ignorance. So their sheer bloody mindedness means that they would contradict. तो ये भी हम यहाँ से एक तरीके से infer कर सकते हैं. Now both of the reformations should be studied simultaneously. He is saying that they are separately from each other and they're contrasting, sometimes converging trajectories need to be treated side by side, not the reformations. सबजो लैंग्वेज को यहाँ पे what point third says is different from the passage, ये नहीं होगा. The doctrines of two reformation did not suit each other. Suitability की तो बात हुई नहीं है. It is incomplete point here. It is something we don't get in the passage. So fourth आपका relevant नहीं था. Kindly continue. Same passage, different questions. So please continue. Okay. So apathy of the local communities. Okay. Now it says which of the following created obstacles. Obstacles का point you know very well. ठीक है कि कहाँ पर दिया हुआ है. They faced obstacles with respect to or in ignorance, apathy, or sheer bloody-mindedness. So apathy of the local community. वैसे इतना टाइम देना बनता नहीं था. The trajectory of the two reformations help in understanding each other. Understand the last line here. It makes little sense to consider the reformation separately from each other. That means there is, no sense to take them separately. And they're contrasting and sometimes trajectories need to be treated side by side. So इतना sense बनता नहीं है. तो इसका उल्टा क्या हुआ? The trajectory of two reformations they help in understanding each other because अगर ऐसा नहीं होता then why would author say that it makes little sense to consider them separately? Okay, he's saying the opposite of it. Just the way of putting it is in the sense where we would think कि अरे ये तो अलग अलग लेकर चल रहा है. Converge occasionally and diverge rarely. Not the specifications that we get in the passage should be studied separately. Now, ऐसा ऑथर ने कहा नहीं कि इनको अलग ही अलग स्टडी करो, ये दोनों को साथ में लेकर आओ नहीं, बट ही सेइंग कि उनका एम तो सेम है, इनको साथ में करो. आ रिजल्ट ऑफ डिसिमिलर हिस्ट्रीज की बात करी नहीं है, एंड दिस इज एन इनडायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन. I'll give you a few seconds. So this is the question about argument that says which of the following statements is closest to the main argument of the passage. The Catholic and Protestant reformations were popular movements. They might be popular, but the main argument what author is saying here is not about how popular they were, how many were following and how many were not following, and also ये नहीं है. The reformations were brought out by a common reaction against social ignorance, not enough data in front of us to prove this. The reformations cannot be studied separately. Just now we saw on this, it is about the studying and understanding of both the reformers and reformations. He starts with saying that the reformers, they don't agree with each other, but the aim and all is same. What is the aim? What are the same hurdles they face? And hence he concludes that that's the reason why we cannot separate them from each other. He has seen, or he sees, author sees too much of similarities. तो यहाँ पे आपका C सही आंसर था. The doctrines are very different from each other. The doctrinal teachings are contrary to each other, but saying that very different from each other इतना extreme में मेन आर्ग्यूमेंट ये नहीं है कि डिफरेंस क्या है, आर्ग्यूमेंट इसकी सिमिलैरिटी क्या है. चलो अब ये वाला क्वेश्चन करेंगे. वन, interesting question, isn't it? Answer to this is A. This is an assumption question. This author ने ये लिखते समय क्या सोचा होगा? What might be in his head, and based on that he wrote this piece of information. So this argument is most strengthened by which of the following assumptions? In other words, this is the question: what assumption you can make based on the passage. So whichever system performs the second inspection needs to inspect only products rejected by the first system. Let's see author बोल क्या है. The quality control department of a chip manufacturing company received proposals. अभी department को proposals आए from two firms for installation of two separate systems, J and K. So first of all, there is a scenario where two systems are being demanded here. These systems are based on different principles, they are different, and they are equally efficient or efficiently same है. But both systems suffer from a problem of wrongly rejecting 4% of flawless products. पर दोनों में जो है एक कुछ drawback भी है. Since false rejections are very costly, the QC departments argue the money could be saved by installing both the systems instead of either one or the other, rejecting only products found flawed by both. Okay. So what is happening here? Last वाला समझ जाओगे, so you know the answer. Okay. Now there are two systems. They are both efficient and they do suffer from the similar kind of problem. Okay. And that is rejecting 4%. लेकिन rejection costs a lot. तो अभी लोगों का क्या सोचना है? इसका solution क्या है? He author is mentioning that. हम आखिरी लाइन फिर से पढ़ेंगे. Since they are costly, QC department argued money could be saved by installing both. So first of all, दोनों install हो रहे हैं. Okay, J and K. इंस्टेड ऑफ आइदर वन और द अदर। तो इतना ये कंफ्यूज करने के लिए लाइन है ना। एंड रिजेक्टिंग ओनली प्रोडक्ट्स फाउंड फ्लॉड बाय बोथ। तो एक ने रिजेक्ट करा, ठीक है, लेट्स से जे ने रिजेक्ट करा ए बी सी डी को आउट ऑफ ऑल। So whichever system performs, the second inspection needs to inspect only project rejected by the first, क्योंकि हमें जो के सिस्टम है उससे भी सेम चाहिए, और के जो भी निकालेगा इसमें से, दूसरा सिस्टम जो भी इसमें से निकालेगा वही एक्चुअली रिजेक्ट होंगे। तो उसके लिए वी वोंट रन द होल सेट ऑफ प्रोडक्ट्स। जे ने जिसको रिजेक्ट करा वी विल रन थ्रू के सिस्टम, एंड उसमें से जो सिमिलर वाले रिजेक्ट हो जाएंगे दे आर गोइंग टू बी द फाइनल रिजल्ट। तो इसी तरीके से थोड़ा सा यहाँ पे आपको reasoning and a little bit of math लगाना पड़ेगा, but then you have the answer. Why not B, C or D? The flawless products that system J rejects are not the same products piece which system K rejects. Very specific, not what author is explaining here. In their price range, system P, Q together are the least error prone. See, वी आर नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट कि मैच होना चाहिए जो भी टर्म्स है सी के जो पैसेज है उससे, बट जस्ट assume that if this statement is true, price range of system together are the least error prone, so वो उनके बारे में बात करता, इनके एरर वाले होने की बात करता, आखिरी में तो ये giving us solution. So no, it is more costly to accept a flawed product than to reject a flawless one. The comparison is not followed here. There is something which he has mentioned about the two types. He is giving the similarities in both of the systems, inspection systems, and then he is saying that since rejection costly है, so what could be a solution to that? ये 4-5 बातें उसने बताई है author ने passage में. So assumption is only the first one that we can have from what we have information in front of us. Answer is A. The above paragraph appears to be an attempt at, means what is the main theme, main message of the passage. Okay. The author reflects on the concept of blue ocean strategy. He explains that this concept delivers some kind of framework for developing market space, making competition irreverent. तो ये concept है क्या, करता क्या है? Author remarks that the blue ocean strategy is about having something. The result in creation of market space and high growth, and not about being the best. So अभी यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? What all information that we get here is about कि वो है क्या, करता क्या है, what is the strategy, what it is doing. It is just a definition, क्योंकि definition talks about what something is. And that's what we get to see from the couple of lines that we have in front of us. Developing the framework. Development की और specifically framework of the strategy is not mentioned. Review है ही नहीं. Highlighting how the strategy leads to better returns. Returns की बात हुई नहीं है. Based on the info provided in our passage, it can be inferred that inference is always from lines inside the passage. The company believes in fostering the spirit of dialogue without degenerating into a position based debate. वो बोल क्या रहा है वो? The company encourages its managers to interact regularly without any agenda to discuss issues concerning the company and society. Okay, so बिना किसी hidden agenda के company says कि managers and all must involve in interaction. The idea has been borrowed from the Indian concept of religious congregation called satsang. Designations are forgotten. That means it's not about the position during these meetings. Hence, it is not uncommon. Not uncommon matlab it is common in these meetings to find a sales engineer questioning the CEO or some corporate policy or on his knowledge of customer. So that has this discussion has nothing to do with the position. Okay, also it's something that the company is encouraging. So company believes in fostering the spirit of dialogue, that means interaction, without anything to do with the position, so without degenerating it into a position based debate. तो वहाँ पे डिबेट नहीं है, everybody is open to present their his or her ideas, their line of communication is clear. तो वो आप क्लियरली इसमें देख सकते हो. The company is concerned about its reputation. No, it is not. It is encouraging कि करो ऐसा और. The company has some interpersonal problems. Negative tone तो है ही नहीं. Since there is no negative tone, A and C are out, which automatically rules out D option. Assumption question. The conclusion above is based on which of the following assumptions? तरीका फिर से अलग है पूछने का, but all you have to do is see assumption क्या है. Assumption once again is the first thought based on which the passage is written. Okay, so first comes the assumption, then follows the passage. A famous singer recently won a lawsuit against an advertising firm for using another singer in a commercial. Evoke the famous singer's well-known rendition of a certain song. तो एक लॉसूट हो रहा है यहाँ पे एडवर्टाइजिंग फर्म के अगेंस्ट. वन सिंगर इज सेइंग कि मेरा गाना, मेरा रेंडेशन जो यूज करा जा रहा है. एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ लॉसूट, एडवर्टाइजिंग फर्म्स विल स्टॉप यूजिंग इमिटेटर्स इन कमर्शियल्स में किसी और को इमिटेटर्स जो रहेंगे नहीं यूज करने दिया जाएगा. Therefore, advertising costs will rise because जो main singer है, to hire that singer, since famous singers services cost more than those of imitators. So most people are unable to distinguish a famous singer's rendition of a song from a good imitator's rendition of the same song, because they are unable to distinguish. That's why these people, advertising firms, they continue to do it. Now, because people are unable to distinguish, people have well accepted it. That's why this famous singer recently won a lawsuit, because he is bothered क्यों क्यों ऐसा कर रहे हैं. Okay, the whole case, it comes into picture when the singer, the original singer, is not satisfied. And why he is not satisfied? Because there are people, they are okay with the imitator also. उनको problem नहीं है. Hence, the original singer, he might not be making some money, and this is the reason उसने lawsuit करा, and that's the reason आगे चल के जो भी हुआ. Commercials using famous singers are usually more effective than commercials using imitators of famous singers. So nowhere we get to see in the passage that author has supported that one type of commercials are getting more famous, or it is giving a better impression. तो हमें यहाँ पे ये नहीं मिलेगा. The original versions of some well-known songs are unavailable. Availability के ऊपर कोई comment है नहीं. It's about the singers and that how उनका rendition work is related to the firm. Advertising industry will use well-known renditions in commercials. ये तो उल्टा है. This is the opposite. So ये भी true नहीं है. Assumption का question ध्यान से करना है. Okay. So, which one of the following best supports the conclusion drawn in the passage? Understand the passage? The message of the passage must coincide with the options here, one of the options, and that is your answer. Although, in the limited sense of freedom regarding appointments and internal working, the independence of central bank is unequivocally ensured, the same cannot be said. अभी आधी बात है although वो भी limited sense है, इसको मत पढ़ो. Although the independence is ensured, same चीज जो है cannot be said of its right to pursue monetary policy without coordination with the central government. तो आधी बात है यहाँ पे, हालांकि they have the freedom, they have independence, it's not related or dependent on the central government. But what about the right to pursue monetary policy? That relates to central government. The role of the government bank has turned out to be subordinate. ऐसे में क्या हो जाता है, सेंट्रल बैंक जो है वो सबऑर्डिनेट हो जाता है, एडवाइजरी इन नेचर हो जाता है. दैट मीन्स अल्टीमेट कॉल फिर सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर हो जाता है. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम द पैसेज. Government has repeatedly resorted to monetization of debt. So whatever thing is here, iski sense, the right answer's sense and the passage sense, conclusion of it will be similar. So आपका जो option होगा ABCD में, it will be something like a new point, but indicating the same meaning जो कि passage में मिल रहा है ना. So मान लो government has resorted to monetization of the debt despite the reservation of the central bank. Government is doing what it wants to do. Okay, we do have the reservation of the central bank, but it is not something that the government is considering, and it has repeatedly resorted to monetization because monetary policy, we can see here also that though we are saying central bank is independent, actually वो इतना independent है नहीं. यहाँ पर भी सेम चीज हो रही है. So this is something supporting the conclusion over here. Okay, इसका एक और तरीके का क्वेश्चन आता है, strengthening the conclusion. So this B point is in the same tone, indicating the same idea the passage is indicating. A decision of the chairman to increase the bank rate by 2% points sent shockwaves in the industry. पर autonomy तो दी नहीं है यहाँ पे passage के according. So this is something that weakens the conclusion. Central bank does not need central government's nod for replacing soiled currency notes. Now, this passage talks about how central bank has to depend on certain things, especially monetary policy को लेके on the central government. So this is not true. This is also weakening the conclusion. The inability to remove coin shortage was a major shortcoming of this government. So the government wasn't able to work on the coin shortage. Okay, let's consider the government was not able to do it. But the passage is about how government is able to do something just with the central bank in background, whereas central bank has the authority, पर वो exercise वैसे नहीं हो पा रहा है. Hence, this is a relevant piece of detail. B आपका answer. Okay. So I hope you are now getting the questions of strengthening, weakening, assumption, inference, direct indirect question, main theme वाले question को अच्छे से हो जाते हैं, आसानी से हो जाते हैं. But then you see, these are the things you have to take care of. Okay, these are the things you have to learn from variety of questions. There is no one thumb rule that you can follow and these questions are done, because comprehension works from different angles. It depends on person to person how well you understand English. My one suggestion would be to all of you, actually let's make it, my two suggestions would be, first, read a lot. Okay, try to read articles on or editorials on different topics. Okay, secondly, attend classes regularly, so then when we brainstorm, when the explanation is given to you, you can cross check your thoughts, the way you thought of the question and the answer. You can think in a different way if the question was wrong. Okay, मतलब आपने अगर गलत किया तो. तो वो चीज़ आपकी ब्रेन स्टॉर्मिंग में बहुत हेल्प करेगी. ओके, that's done here. Thank you so much for joining the class. I'll see you in the next session. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Till then, take care.